My name is Jill Ingalls, and it's a joy to be here today with you today. Thank you for coming. All these beautiful faces and for you people out in Zoom world. Thank you for being here with us today. It's a joy. As a representative for CSL White Rock, I recognize that I am a settler on this land. I'm grateful and honored to live and operate on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Coast Salish peoples, and that other members of this gathering are working and living in the traditional land of many other Indigenous peoples. I thank the First Peoples who continue to live and care for Mother Earth. As CSL White Rock is committed to the vision of a loving, vibrant world that works for all, we are committed to uplifting Indigenous voices, respecting traditional lands, and working with communities toward reconciliation. The science of mind philosophy is a holistic approach to spirituality that emphasizes the power of thought and the interconnectedness of all life. It provides a practical, non-dogmatic path towards personal growth and transformation. CSL White Rock is an inclusive spiritual community and learning center. We honor many paths to the one. Our four cornerstone beliefs are, we are here to walk each other home. And doesn't that feel good? There's nothing outside of us that needs to change in order for us to be happy. And there is one life, one source, that is the creator of all life and all things. And of course, you know that we are spirit having a human experience.
Today, the talk title is Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. How I wonder what you are. Way up above, the sky so bright. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. Oh, goosebumps. Goosebumps, thinking back to childhood memories and knowing that time when we could be that little star, when we were little and we'd run around and play and shine, and bringing back those moments, that memories of living our fullest expression, and that beautiful meditation that Diane brought into our heart and into trusting and relaxing. And that's what I have to do today, is trust and know that this is all going to work out perfectly. We are on the right track. We are stepping into our magnificence as a community. How fortunate. Look at around us. How lucky are we? How lucky are we to be here together? It's so amazing to see all your smiling faces show up and be part of this group. So as we're talking about Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, it's also about the time that we see the stars is when it's dark. When it's dark, and it's embracing those moments that the stars shine in the daylight, but we can't see their twinkle without the darkness of the night. Just like the water in the ocean is always glistening and sparkling, we cannot see the sparkles on the water without the illumination of the light. I just experienced that yesterday morning. I was fortunate enough to be down at Lake Whatcom at a friend's cabin. So I'm sitting on the deck doing my meditation, and the sun is just shining right through and down. And it is just sparkling and glistening all along the top of the water. It's so magical when you have those moments to take in that beauty. But there's also the complementary partnership of the light and the shadows that illuminates the richness of each. Because without the dark, we can't experience that sparkle. Without the dark, we can't experience that beauty, that illumination within, whether it's within ourselves or within the world in nature. So when we can appreciate both, we welcome the levity of light and the depths of the darkness. And what does that do? That creates that balance of wholeness, that wholeness that each of us are. So when we're talking about our shadows are part of our true self that are illuminated by the light. And when we walk in the day, certain points we can see our shadows. But it is the outline of our body. And it can also apply to other objects. And when we move, it moves and follows and mimics us. Even when we don't see our shadows, it's still there. And an eclipse of the moon is the shadow of the moon on the sun. So when we think of our shadows, metaphorically, we can imagine that being fully seen and bringing it into view. It outlines us with the details of expression, yet it has movement, and our shadow is alive. And what does our shadow have to offer us, you may ask? Yes, there's a little chuckle in the room. I hear that. And it can reveal about our true authentic self. And we may not always be ready to invite it in and to express it. But our shadow is that partner, that dance partner, and it can help reveal the rich diamond flakes that are underneath, like that sparkling of the water. So I had a great shadow show up this week. Well, maybe more than one. But anyways, I'll tell you about this one. So I'm all set. As I think many of you know, I've been learning to ride a motorcycle. So I've been out practicing, and with COVID, it's taken me 2 years to finally get the time to do my motorcycle license. So it's time to take my road test. I look at my license and realize, oh my gosh, it's gonna expire May 19th. So get onto ICBC, take a practice road test with my instructors, and then sign up. So I have a week, and I'm like, okay, every day I'm out practicing. And I'm in the parking lot over at our Surrey Park and Ride, and going so slow. My husband says, oh my gosh, you can't go that slow when you're turning. It's gonna tip over. And sure enough, I tipped over. So then, that caused me some fear. That shadow, I can't do this. What am I thinking? Oh my gosh, I'm 50, blah, 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 blah. How am I starting to learn to ride a motorcycle? What am I doing? There's that shadow, that doubt, that lack of confidence in myself. So the day comes, my road test is up, and my worst case scenario is my U-turns. My U-turns, life, U-turning, thinking about it. It's kind of a really good metaphor. So I'm making a U-turn in my life right now with becoming the senior minister of CSL White Rock. I'm changing directions. So I go and I'm taking my test. At first I'm really nervous, but then I'm going along and I'm feeling good. I'm like, I got this. Yes, breathe. I'm saying out loud because they can't hear me. I'm praying the whole way through, people. I'm praying. I know I'm one with the one. I am divinely guided. I'm sorry, checking my shoulders, checking my mirrors. And then so going through, feel really good. And then 5 minutes before my test ends, I'm like, okay, I've got this. I've done everything. I know there's one thing coming up. So he says, pull to your left into this one. It's a one-way street, or not a one-way street, but a dead end street. Please do a U-turn. I'm like, okay, I got this. I can do this. Check, go. Put my foot down, do a duck walk around the U-turn. But what I didn't see was out of my one side, there was a van that just happened to turn and come down a one-way dead end street. At the same time, I'm doing my U-turn. Hello? What is he doing there? Really? That is just so unfair. Automatic fail. Right? I'm but was that shadow though, what I worried about, what I was concerned about, I was thinking about, I can't do this. Oh my goodness, this did U-turn. But it was the awareness, not seeing that van, that awareness. What am I missing in my life when I'm doing my U-turns? What am I missing when I'm doing, when I'm trying to learn something new, or I'm embracing whatever it is that I want next, maybe it's playing the drums with Jill. But what's holding me back? I keep putting up roadblocks. So I'm back to the drawing board. Unfortunately, my license expired, so I get to start all over. But what a fresh start. I get to look at this as I'm turning the page and starting over. So it's, the mistake becomes the invitation to explore our inner landscape, to confront and integrate those aspects of ourselves that we tend to overlook or deny. But by acknowledging our imperfections and embracing the lessons they have to offer, we can increase our consciousness and embark on a transformative journey of self-discovery. So fear not the stumble on the road to mastery. Instead, embrace it as an opportunity to shine my light in another way. But we're thinking of shadows as well. I think the other thing that comes up, and this is maybe part of that story with the motorcycle, is self-sabotage. Where can I, in that darkness, in those shadows, I have that thought of what's going on in my life, but where do I stop myself, like playing the drums or doing the U-turn or going a little bit faster, whatever it is. And I know one of the biggest places that I can self-sabotage is in the form of relationships. I don't know about any of you, but if you thought you're in a relationship or a friendship or something, and you're just kind of waiting for that shoe to drop. Like, this is too good. I can't, this really isn't it, right? And then you just have that little niggling thought in the back going, oh, do I deserve this? That's a big one. Do I deserve this? Of course, we all know the answer is yes, we do deserve it. And yet, though, there's times that do we really believe that? And then we get in our own way. So how do we step out of our way? How do we move into that next expression? Well, that's our spiritual tools. That's our spiritual practice. That is having compassion for ourselves and others, no matter where we are. It's having that compassion and falling back in love with that true self, that person that is right here, that heart space, and knowing that that is connected to that divine. And we all have it. We all have that connection. And it's just whether we want to breathe into it and stop and allow it to come through and shine. And then it's also, I think the big piece, this third kind of point that I want to talk about, is embracing all parts of ourselves. We might think about ourselves, oh, maybe I'm carrying a little much too weight here, or maybe I'm doing this, or maybe I'm showing up in a strange way, or I'm a bit quirky, or I'm too, I don't know. Growing up, I heard, oh, Tamara, you're too much. A lot. You're just too much. But, so that got ingrained. So then I started to shrink down a bit. And then it was like, oh, you can't do that. So then I shrunk down even more. But lately, due to this teaching, and this is why this teaching has made such an impact in my life, is it has allowed me to really love myself for who I am right here, right now. And do I do it perfectly? No, not all the time. But I have practitioners to remind me. I have the congregation to remind me. I have friends and the music that we listen to and the meditations we do, and to remind me that, yes, I am that little star, that little twinkle, as we all are. We're all that brilliant people. Let's use that word instead. We're, each of us, we're brilliant. We're absolutely wonderful. And I think we tend to forget that. Because that little ego voice goes in behind us and says, who do you think you are to be that magnificent? Is that a more magnificent, I think? It's quote. But it's working through it. It's working through that and embracing those shadow pieces those pieces where we're maybe a little bit afraid, maybe those pieces that were a little bit uncomfortable. Right? It's stepping out of that comfort zone and into what it is that we are and who we are, and knowing that truth of who we are, knowing that truth. I do have a quote because you know me, I have to have quotes. I'm trying to cut down, but only in the darkness when you see the stars. And that's by Martin Luther King. I lied, I have two. Where's the other one? And then the other one is by Marcina Wickander. She says, I have seen too many stars to let the darkness overwhelm me. I've seen too many stars. And I'm looking out into a room full of bright, shiny stars right now. So if we tie this back to science of mind, of what is this, the shadows and embracing, but what it is wholeness embraces all aspects of truth. So that's the wholeness of the light, the dark. There's that continuum. It requires an openness to gain perspective from both sides. Fear, faith, feminine, masculine, darkness, light, anger, peace, joy, pain. When we can learn from the depths of what those shadows offer us, and our ongoing experience is lighter and brighter, there is balance and equilibrium within the wholeness of that life. It encompasses both sides. It is not a binary situation of either this or that. Instead, it's an encompassing, inclusive, and it embodies this and that. So it's that teeter-totter, that scales, that we must have equal mystery within the unknown, and we can embrace it through our awareness of spiritual laws, how they work, and use our spiritual tools to keep everything balanced and in alignment. Going back to the motorcycle story, if I would have just stopped, breathed, taken a breath, right? I would have taken another look and I would have seen what was just outside of my peripheral. I would have seen what was there because I would have been grounded and connected. So I encourage you that when you tackle any challenging topic or situation, do it with openness, accountability, and a willingness to learn from the deep, dark abyss in order to achieve enlightenment, understanding, and clarity. Let's take that into prayer. So here we are, as we stand in our faith, always being protected and guided by the vast, unending universal presence. We no longer have reason to avoid the darkness or our shadow because we remember that we always wanted to stand in the light. Even in the midst of darkness, we remember that dark is part of the universal presence and we stand in oneness with it, and we embrace and appreciate standing in the darkness as a natural part of life. It is there that we find that beauty. So knowing this truth that we are all one, each of us, with that one mind, that divine spark, that twinkle that is there. Knowing that truth. So today, claiming that joy, that faith of God, the love that each of us are. I know this truth. I know it for myself. I know it for each of you. So I lean into that. I lean into that knowing, into that space of perfection. And it's not all the little details. It is not all the little details. It is the love, and it is showing up and being present and allowing that present to be right here, right now, and expressing as my unique individual human form. So I'm so grateful for this day. I'm grateful for this knowing of truth, for this time of connection, this time of spiritual uplift, this time of remembering of who I truly am. That is when the twinkle of the star takes on a deeper meaning, and knowing that each of us here are a brilliant star waiting to step into the endless possibility that is ours. I allow these words to flow through the law of mind, knowing right action is already on the move. It's starting. I let it go. I let it be, and ask you to join me in saying, and so it is.
Thank you, Reverend Tamara. That was wonderful. Wonderful. I love the whole piece of the stars. And we don't see the stars in the day, but they're there. But we see them at night. So the good is always there. Beautiful. I was with the little granddaughter the other day, and I was telling her that to go through life, the most important words that can carry through her entire life is thank you. Thank you. And of course, with thank you, when we go through life in thank you and in gratitude, there's such a richness beyond our knowing. And it comes up in many ways. It comes up in our friends, in our relationships, our families, our learning, our community, our world, in so many ways. So this offertory today is to say thank you. And I invite you to share your gifts with us, which we really appreciate. And, oh, I forgot to invite our beautiful usher to just come on down. There's a $50,000 prize up front in the envelope below. So I invite you to join me in saying, I know that my giving blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive.